I had just moved out of a share house in the suburbs and into my own shitty one-bedroom apartment in the city. I'm a male, and at the time I was around 25. My apartment was located about 500 meters from one of the most popular night spots in the inner city. As I was in my mid-20s and out on my own, this was the perfect place for me. This was because my friends and I were quite social and would frequent bars and nightclubs in the city, and the taxi fares were starting to add up. Also, this new apartment was close to my work, so it made sense. I got settled in right away and invited my friends over for pre-drinks before hitting the clubs. Due to the limited space in the apartment, this meant that some of my friends were inside and some were drinking on the walkway just out front. We had the music up and had just started drinking, but between songs I could hear the couple next door arguing. Now, the apartment was old and shitty, which meant thin walls too. So I pressed an ear to the wall in order to listen in. I hadn't met any of my new neighbors at this time, as I didn't take long to move in and I didn't really see anyone during. I was curious. Judging from what I could determine while eavesdropping, they were a gay couple in their early 30s. One of the men was yelling at the other to go next door and tell us to keep it down. The other was arguing that it was just a housewarming and to let it go for the night. Since I didn't want to cause trouble, I marshaled everyone outside to start making our way to the nightclubs, leaving my new neighbors in peace. Later that night I came home, and as I was tired from the move, I decided to let my friends carry on partying without me. I arrived at my door and proceeded to fumble around for my keys, when I look up to see a man standing on the walkway in front of the next apartment smoking a cigarette. He was tall and thin with brown oily hair. I noticed he also had a cut lip and a faded but still visible black eye. I said, "Good day, sorry about the noise earlier," correctly assuming he was my neighbor. He replied, "Nah, you're alright, mate. I'm Chris," and he shook my hand. I noticed his knuckles were red and a little bit scratched up, so I knew something was off. I apologized for the noise and said, "I hope I didn't cause any trouble for you." He withdrew his hand and with a soft but crackled voice said, "Nah, you're okay. Rick is just a bit cranky sometimes. I'm used to it." With that, I finished off the conversation and told Chris that I'd see him later. It was about 2 a.m. at this point and I just wanted to get to sleep, but couldn't help worrying about the potential domestic abuse going on next door. I decided to just keep an eye on it for now as I didn't have all the info. For all I knew, he could have gotten into a fight with someone else. As the weeks passed, I noticed that my new neighbors got drunk regularly and would argue almost every time. I could tell that Rick was the dominant one as his voice was a lot deeper, and Chris seemed to be afraid of him during their shouting matches. This is why I kept my distance and never really socialized with them. I would even overhear them arguing about me, and that Rick thought Chris liked me, etc. I would just tune all this out with my headphones and video games, not to mention an active social life and full-time work to keep me occupied. I did find myself avoiding having guests over because of the neighbors. I would opt to meet people out as their arguments could be quite upsetting. This was working out fine enough for a while, until Christmas Eve that same year. I was arriving home after coming from last-minute Christmas shopping. I was getting ready for a night of present wrapping as I was to visit my family the following day for Christmas. As I arrived home, I noticed 2 police cars outside and Anna, an Asian woman who lived a few apartments up from Chris, was screaming. I asked her what was happening and all she said was, "It's just so sad," while sobbing. I could see 3 officers trying to restrain somebody, and there was blood on their uniforms. I came just a little bit closer to see Chris's oily brown hair in the center of the affray. His face was bleeding from his jaw where he had apparently been slashed by something sharp. They got him to his feet and I could see that his cheek had been cut so deeply that the skin was flapping open as he struggled and resisted with the police. I recoiled in shock and went to comfort Anna, who was crying uncontrollably at this point. Suddenly, Rick's voice boomed from out of nowhere. "You see what you've done, you fucking loser? Just kill yourself." This frightened me and my instinct was to get myself and Anna to safety. Even though the cops were here, they had their hands full with Chris, and I certainly didn't want to get involved in such an ugly fight where knives were involved. Anna refused to come with me and said she'd be fine. I looked around to see where Rick was as he kept yelling at Chris. The whole time the 3 cops struggled to restrain him. I could hear Chris whimpering apologetically in between. I couldn't see where Rick was, so I decided to just go to my apartment and lock the door. As I turned to go, I froze in horror as Rick's voice boomed. "Where the fuck are you going?" A deep chill went down my spine as my brain struggled to reconcile the fact that these words were coming out of Chris's mouth. I felt panic grip me as I realized that all this time, Rick and Chris were the same person. All of the fighting, laughing, drinking, and carrying on that I couldn't help overhearing the last couple of months had come from one solitary person. A lonely guy in his small 1-bedroom apartment. For some reason, this made me feel sick. I learned later from Anna that this wasn't the first time the police had come out to take Chris away. Anna explained that he spends a couple of months at the local psychiatric hospital each time. His father owns the apartment, so it's here waiting for him when he gets out. I moved out a few months later, and while it is a sad situation for Chris, and I really do feel for him, let's not meet. This was about 3 years ago on a dark stretch of road near a main intersection in a major Bay Area city. I worked at a big-name healthy grocery store from 2014 through 2017. I was lucky to meet and work with amazing coworkers, some of whom have become my best and closest friends. One of my best friends, at the time and to this day, Cav, is one of the nicest, most caring people I've ever met. He is incredibly generous, genuine, and warm and welcoming to everyone, sometimes to a fault. At the time of this story, I'm a woman in my early 20s and Cav is a guy in his late 20s. Cav and I have a weekly ritual of driving around the city after work and talking, sometimes about our problems, sometimes about what's going well, but it was therapeutic and always something to look forward to. This particular night, we invited a buddy Ben to join us. His department always got out 30 or 45 minutes after the rest of the store, so Cav and I decided we would do a short drive around the area to pass time until Ben was off. Cav was driving that night. We did our drive and headed back to the store to pick up Ben. In order to get back to the store, we needed to take a U-turn at a 4-way intersection. To get to that intersection, we needed to go down a dark but short stretch of road. There are no streetlights for some reason. The intersection is well lit, always busy, and has shopping center plazas on each side. From the dark stretch of road, it is exactly 302 feet, according to Google Maps, to the main well-lit and ever-busy intersection. As we're driving down the dark section, Cav suddenly interrupts what I was saying and says, "Oh my god, did you see that person waving?" He slows down the car as I look back. "No? What are you talking about? You didn't see them? There was someone in a black hoodie waving us down." I'm looking back. I have poor eyesight. It's dark. No, I don't see anyone. There's no one there. As I'm saying this, Cav is pulling into an empty parking lot parallel to the dark stretch of road. He reaches to the back seat and is moving jackets and other stuff off of the seat, obviously making room for this person. "No, Cav," I said. "No one is getting in this car. Do you understand?" "But what if they need—" "No, there's no one there. And if there were, they could walk up the fucking intersection. No." He agrees, but insists we continue to circle around and check. I reluctantly agree, but realize I have no choice anyway. We circle back, and sure enough, there's a girl, my age in her early 20s, standing alone wearing all black. She has a hoodie on. She looks disheveled and is sort of crying. Maybe? Cav rolls down the passenger window, my window, about halfway, to which I roll it back up another quarter of the way and ask her if she's okay. She seems off, and I immediately have awful vibes from her. "4 guys stole my purse," she says with her hands over her face. "It had my wallet. I literally lost everything and I don't have a phone." The weirdest thing about this is that she wasn't crying. She was stretching out her words and whining, but she wasn't crying. I said. Okay, we'll call the police for you. Why don't you walk up to the intersection and we'll wait with you for the police? No, she says adamantly. It won't help. I already called the police an hour ago. This is when I started to freak out. She just said she didn't have a phone. She's been standing in the dark for an hour? I thought you didn't have a phone, I said. I do. It's dead. All of this happening rapid fire, and before I can really mentally get what's going on, Cav tells her to get into the car so we can help her. I say, walk up to the plaza at the intersection and we'll help you. Cav unlocks the door and says, no, don't worry, we'll drive you there. The girl has her hands in the front of her pocket hoodie and gets into the car. I'm fucking pissed. Fuming. The girl is acting super weird. I remember at this point that I have my box cutter on me. I reach down into my backpack and am rummaging through my crap to find it. Cav is talking to her, but everything she says is contradictory. She says that she isn't from this area, has no idea where she is, yet she tells us she grew up and lives about 6 blocks away. As we're driving, she says she wants to go to a particular bar, that she could really use a drink. I thought you didn't have your wallet or ID, I ask. I keep looking for my box cutter and am looking back at her. She has a waxy complexion and looks into my eyes as if she's looking through me. It gives me the fucking creeps. Cav is incredibly kind to her, idiot, and keeps saying positive things, trying to get to the bottom of what's going on. While this is happening, I find my box cutter, open it all the way and hold it on my lap. I turn back and keep my eyes on her. She tells us she has a boyfriend nearby and asks us to take her there. She and Cav continue to talk and she says she was kicked out of her parents' house. Her hands still remain in her pocket, and mine remain holding the box cutter. Because of this whole ordeal, we've totally forgotten about Ben. Still watching her, I pull my phone out and I call him. I'm explaining to Ben what's happening, and in a matter of seconds she went from asking us for money and alcohol and saying weird shit to just wanting to get out of the car. We did not drop her off at her boyfriend's house, but a few streets away, apparently in a random neighborhood. We drop her off and there's silence for a few seconds in the car. Oh my god, Cav says laughing. She could have robbed or killed us. Yeah, fucking idiot. I am 100% certain that at the very least she was planning to rob us. Looking back, there is so much more I would have done differently, like calling the cops right away. We were lucky nothing happened, but I'm positive there was evil in the car that night. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and share it with your friends. And hit that bell icon down below, that way you let YouTube know you want to know when my videos come out. And if you would like to help support the channel as well as get yourself a cool custom badge and all that good stuff, make sure you check out the membership button down by the subscribe button. Once again, I hope everyone had a wonderful day, and I appreciate you checking out this video. And I'll catch you in the next one. And just remember, it's always scarier if it's true. This takes place about 5 years ago when I was working security for a private company. It wasn't a big fancy company where you'd see celebrities. It was more of a security for birthday parties, rodeos, and even land owned by some bigger companies. The incident where this happened was at a wedding. I was working this with 2 of my friends, Paul and another guy that I don't remember his name. The other guy I don't remember his name was gay, and he told us after the party he was gonna go find some bacon. And in his terms, bacon means he wanted to go find some guys. Not sure how he came up with that term, but that's what it meant. We each go off to our designated areas and keep an eye on everything that's going down. Not long after, the bride's dad gets into a fit because he's drunk and he starts beating up on a waitress. We have to kick the dad out, who paid for the whole thing. Once all us security got him out, we decided to go back to our areas. As we're walking, I'm walking with my friend that I don't remember his name, Great friend, right? And as we walk past guys, I hear him going, "Bacon, bacon, bacon." I know what he's doing and I find it a little weird. But either way, I separate and go my way back to my area, he goes his. The way we got to this wedding was in my vehicle. Where this wedding was being held was probably 3 hours from where our stationing was, the main station for the private company. The end of the wedding comes without any more incidents, and all of us security meet back outside. Everyone's getting ready to load up into my car, and then the friend that I don't remember his name comes up to me and tells me he doesn't need a ride back, he's going to find bacon. I give him a weird look because we're hours away from home and he doesn't know anyone here, from the looks of it. Regardless, he's a grown-ass man, so I just told him okay. He takes off and I hear him doing his bacon, bacon, bacon thing again. I drove everyone home, and on the next job I actually got stuck with a bacon guy again. My bacon friend. Wait, that sounds wrong. Not my bacon friend, not in that way. My friend that I don't remember his name who likes to hunt down bacon that he means is a term for other men. But this time we were stationed at night in a desolate lot that was owned by a power company that was just like abandoned. It was probably 5 acres or so, and you'd have to drive around periodically to make sure no one was breaking into the fenced area, that kind of thing. Pretty chill job. But even with no one around, he would just say, "Bacon, bacon, bacon." I'd ask him why he kept saying it, and he just said that he was looking for bacon. And being that there was only one other guy in the car, it had me wondering if he thought I was bacon. And I am more than a piece of meat. I am a human being with feelings and hair, not just meat. I got fingernails. Are you gonna eat fingernails? Some of you probably would, and that's weird. You're almost like a cannibal if you think about it. Either way, nothing much else happened. I never saw my friend that I don't remember his name who liked to hunt down bacon, and bacon was the term for other guys, again. And Paul got into meth, and last I knew he looks like a wizard. And here's something even better for everybody. Normally this is where I make up a story, but this whole story is actually true. I worked security in California for a short time after I got out of the military. And yes, this happened at a wedding. So it's kind of weird. And yeah, that lot, I was actually really hoping something would go down in the middle of nowhere because it was all dark and creepy. But no, just a guy saying bacon the whole night. We were there for like 8 hours. I don't get it. But yeah, that whole story's true. Yeah. People are great. That job was not too bad. A Mexican rodeo. That was honestly probably the most fun I've had. We did have to keep kicking a guy out and then we'd crawl back in the bathroom window. But man, can they party. Like after the rodeo, everyone was out there with a bottle of tequila in their hand doing a dance. I don't know if it's a specific dance or whatnot, but man, there was so much dust and everything. Everyone was getting down. Got a little crazy there. Either way, I'm kind of rambling now, but yeah, that story's true. Didn't make anything up for humor. I guess it's already kind of got a little bit of humor. But either way, now you get to know me a little bit better. And Bacon Guy. You get to know Bacon Guy. I really don't remember his name, but we were friends, kind of. Yeah, can't remember his name. Oh, Paul, if you're ever listening, I don't even know who you are anymore, but get off the meth, dude. You don't need to look like a wizard. You were like a couple years older than me, wizard man. And don't do meth, kids. Don't do it. Or adults. Even adults, don't do meth. Smoke crack instead. I'm out.
4 guys stole my purse.